Hi, everybody. Many blessings. Thank you so much for being here. So grateful for all of you taking an interest and just really listening and understanding this relationship that we have with the energy that the cosmos affords us. Okay, super important time right now to be using all the tools that we have at our fingertips for understanding ourselves, like astrology, and also for really understanding what's going on with the world right now in this time of transition that we are going through collectively as a planet, as a people. Today, I want to talk about Mercury Retrograde, which is coming up on the 18th of June. First, I want to share something with you. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my posts about the moon in Pisces, and this is a very intuitive, psychic moon, especially with regards to dreams, because Pisces rules dreams. So on the first night of this moon in Pisces, I actually had a very prophetic dream. This happens quite often. I've had some dreams in which, I've seen people in my dreams and an exact scene happens the next day, and I see it play by play, and I see the person I haven't seen in 4 years, and I'm like, okay, premonition. This wasn't like that. It was more prophetic. It was giving me a message. And when I woke up and I muscle tested to see if it was something just for me or if it was for the collective, it said it's for both. So I've decided to share it with you. So here it goes. Thursday night, the 11th into Friday morning, I had this dream, and it was a dream in which I was with a whole bunch of people, and it seemed to be like a high energy, sort of exciting event. And it was at a university or some sort of hall, and it was thousands of people. And I received what looked like a scroll, and I opened it up and I realized it's a diploma, and it said, it's a graduation diploma, and it said doctorate in something like human sciences or something like that. There was something about the scroll that I felt seemed sort of temporary. So I went into what looked like an administrative office, and there were people there, and somebody handed me a phone. And on the phone, there was a lawyer who said, there's an agreement that needs to be updated before we can give the permanent diplomas and all this stuff. So there was something where I was had to look at agreements that were in need of being updated. Super interesting, because when I woke up, right after that, of course, was June 12th, the morning that I woke up, and I got a bunch of emails, which were from many different stores, which were like, we're open now, we're open, come see us, we're open, come see us, we're open, come see us. So what I felt with this dream, there's definitely been a graduation on a collective level. We've definitely had a shift. Of course, you know that on the 5th, we had an eclipse. Eclipses are before and after events. There has been a shift in some area of your life. I'm sure there has been in mine, whether for you it's relational, it's financial, it's professional, even at home. Maybe there's a reno, maybe there's something that's happened. But there's a change, a very permanent or soon to be permanent change, a big shift. And so this is what this graduation dream is telling us. We have made a shift for the better. There's a graduation. There's like a, hey, you passed the test. We did this, good, right? However, there is still a pending process that we need to go through in order for this whole next level or this after to be permanent. And that was the message of the dream. So I think we need to keep in mind, dreams are symbolic language, just like astrology is symbolic language, and anyone can interpret a dream, anyone can perceive certain things. It's just a matter of you practicing, really remembering your dreams and practicing also symbolism of how to interpret them. And I really think that, or I feel that the next change that's coming up, June 20th, 21st, is going to be the next level big shift too. I think that we're really in a time with all of these eclipses for concentrated and accelerated next level change. Okay. What's going to be happening the 20th, 21st next week? I'll do a video on this as well, specifically on this, because today we're going to talk about Mercury Retrograde, which is starting on the 18th. But I just want to touch on it so you understand how big it is. Solstice, at the same time as an eclipse, at the same time as not a single but a double new moon that's going to be happening in conjunction with the North Node. Doesn't happen very often. There's all of these coming together, talking about new beginnings, because new moon is always new beginnings. Eclipse is always big change. Solstice is also a shift, okay? And it's, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. So it's the longest daylight of the year. Beautiful, beautiful energy. All of this coinciding also with Father's Day. Super interesting, the energy that we're going to have on the 20th, 21st next week. Okay, keep an eye out. Keep your feels out more than anything, because a lot of this stuff is going to be felt before it is seen. Okay, so let's go into the topic of this video, which is Mercury retrograde. A ton of people are like, Mercury retrograde, oh my God, another retrograde. But even if you don't know, even if you're not very familiar with astrology, at least you've heard of Mercury retrograde. Movies sometimes make fun of it. Sometimes I've seen memes of like, when is Mercury Gatorade gonna be done? All these different things. Okay, amazing. There's a lot of consciousness, awareness of Mercury retrograde in the community, even if we don't know exactly what that means. So I'm going to tell you exactly what that means, because it tends to have a negative connotation. Okay, why does it have a negative connotation? Because typically Mercury retrograde is known for because Mercury rules things as mechanics and all this, the transportation type stuff. Then things break down. You have sort of a breakdown in a little bit of communication, because it also rules communication. Okay, fine, but let's really go into what this Mercury retrograde is going to give you, and let's also go into what the true purpose of a retrograde is. Retrogrades are meant to make you go within. Okay, let me say that again. Retrogrades are meant to make you go within. What is a retrograde? A retrograde is an optical illusion by which we see that the planet, rather than moving forward along in its orbit through the signs, it takes a step back and it starts moving in a retro fashion. Okay, like I said, it's an optical illusion. So this is a mental process. This is something that we perceive, which is the truth for a lot of the things here on this planet, isn't it? Right? I mean, this is a video game, a hologram that we're living in, and this is something that our spirit is in its avatar living a human experience, not the other way around, right? It's not a human being who has a spirit, it's a spirit that's living a human experience. If you know this, you know what I'm talking about with regards to this is really a hologram. Everything that's happening is mostly illusory, and really what is truthful is something that you can feel through your intuition, the core spiritual things. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, it's in the sign of Cancer. So you have a retrograde and people are like, what's gonna happen? And well, the exterior stuff doesn't matter. The purpose of a retrograde is for you to go within and to begin to shift things from the inside, that then when this Mercury goes direct, exterior is going to shift according to what the interior shifted before. Okay, so that's the idea. And this one is Mercury in Cancer. Mercury rules the mind and it rules verbal communication, among other things, right? It also rules digital stuff, it rules transportation. Okay, but let's look at the Mercury in Cancer aspect. Mercury in Cancer means that your thoughts are going to be connected to your feelings. Cancer is the sign that rules emotions. It is naturally a sign ruled by the moon. The moon rules emotions. Cancer is all about the feels, the emotions, intuition, highly psychic. What is going to happen is a meeting of the mind with the feelings. You're going to need to review, which is what happens during a retrograde. You're going to need to review the thoughts that make you feel good, the thoughts that don't make you feel good. Are these thoughts that are outdated, or do I need to make new agreements, right? As my dream said, what's an agreement? Well, our lives are based on agreements. If I go to I'm driving through the street and I go and it's a green light, I have agreed that I can move forward and everybody else needs to stop. If it's a red light, I have agreed, we've all agreed, that I need to stop and that the rest of the people, right, that are perpendicular to me can move forward. So our lives are based on agreements. Agreements are also the things that settle our limiting beliefs. So when you're little, let's say somebody said, money doesn't grow on trees, and you interiorize that, that's an agreement. You agreed that that was truth. And because of that, you have a thought that has probably gained a little momentum, and some friends, other friends who say like, you gotta earn stuff by working really hard and what all those things, making this whole money neural net be super, super like money is hard to come by and all these things. And then you wonder why you don't attract money easily into your life. Okay, so you made all of these agreements. These became limiting beliefs. This became a whole neural net that is preventing you from being in the flow of something that's natural to you, because money does grow on trees, because literally paper money is made from paper, and paper comes from a tree. Okay, very literally, without going very far. So as my dream said, let's review some of these agreements. In order to graduate permanently, we need to really transmute. First we review, and then we see what are these agreements that are going to be useful for our next level. Such as, for example, let me transmute this and let me understand that money does grow on trees. Let me also understand that money is an energy, and it's an energy just like any other. And the minute that I open up, I will get rid of these limiting beliefs, and I open up the recipient, the container for this energy to come into my life, because I've taken away the limiting beliefs that were blocking this. I open this container, then it's gonna pour into my life. Okay, that's what this period is all about, because Mercury retrograde is going to go within, gonna make the mind and the emotions connect, and it's gonna say, okay, let's feel our way through some of these thoughts. Let's see what makes us feel good. Money doesn't grow on trees and money doesn't come easy. It does not make anybody feel good. Okay, if you say money comes easily to me, I live in abundance, the universe provides, I'm always provided for and protected and pampered, which is what I say, my 3 P's, right? The universe provides, protects, and pampers me all the time. Then that will become your reality, and you will allow all of this energy to come into your life. That's what this period is for. So signs that this is going to be a more sort of a more productive or easier process for will be, of course, Mercury's in Cancer. So if you're Sun in Cancer, then this will be sort of an easier process for you, probably more accentuated. Also, the other signs would be Pisces and Scorpio, which are the fellow water signs, and Taurus and Virgo, which are earth signs, because water and earth get along really, really well. The good thing about this Mercury in retrograde in Cancer is that it really doesn't have any aspects, any relationships to other planets that are in any difficult mathematical relationships. Okay, that's what an aspect is. Mathematical relationship, it tells you whether the relationship between a planet and a sign and another planet and a sign is easy or it's not easy. The energy is felt like it flows or it doesn't flow. Okay, that's what I'm talking about when I say aspects or mathematical relationships. Okay, so this Mercury retrograde in Cancer doesn't have anything difficult with another planet. The only sort of difficult aspect that it has will be with Chiron in Aries. Therefore, the signs that are going to be a little bit feeling it more uncomfortable will be the sign of Aries and the sign of Libra. Okay, doesn't mean that this is not going to be a good thing for you. Just means that you may feel it on an emotional level a little bit more intense, a little bit more uncomfortable. Still go through the process. It's all about, what do I need to do? What belief do I need to uproot and review, so that then I can replace it, or maybe shift that belief just a little bit, so that I can pivot that belief, right? So that I can then feel really, really good. When I feel really, really good, I allow the really good things to flow into my life. That's what this period is for, okay? So, Neptune is in Pisces, Mars is in Pisces. All of this is flowing with the energy of Mercury in retrograde. It's not going to give anything difficult to work with in this period. It's going to be really, really good. How do I work with a Mercury retrograde in order for it to be productive? You're going to take pen or pencil, and you're going to take paper or notebook, and you're going to write. Okay, Mercury is the planet of communication. It is very sort of verbal, very kind of like it wants to communicate, it wants to express. You're gonna need to let your thoughts express themselves. Here's what I usually say. It's really the process of healing or shifting, the process of alchemy, the process of stepping into a new version of who you are is really you and you. Right? It's what I call a communion. typically communing with spirit. It's like, okay, what do you want to tell me? What is going on? You can also talk to your emotions. If something is happening with you and you need to process an emotion, let's say you're doing this work on Mercury Retrograde, right, which starts on the 18th, it's going to end, it typically goes for 3 weeks, it's going to end on the 12th of July, and you're doing some of this writing, and a difficult memory comes up, or an uncomfortable feeling comes up, and you feel angry or you feel sad and you want to cry, well, have a conversation with those feelings, those emotions. Typically, there is something behind the emotion that is looking for attention. It's looking to be seen, to be heard, to be expressed. For example, let's say you have a thought, and if this thought gets you angry, or this memory or something that happened gets you angry, right? Anger has at its core, or beneath its emotional level, it has the feeling of frustration. This frustration is trying to tell you something. What is a frustration? A frustration is nothing more than, this is where I'm located, this is where I want to be located, and there's a gap. Your job is to close the gap. Your job is to look where you're standing, and to look where you want to be, and to take this gap and do whatever you need to do to close it. Okay? If there for some reason is no way to close that gap, if the gap would be, let's say, I don't know, like, this is where I'm at, where I lost somebody, and this is where I would want to be, which is I didn't lose that person, but that person passed away, then there's nothing you can do to close that gap. Well, then I'm going to practice surrender, and I'm going to let go. I'm going to trust that this is the way it is for a reason, and I'm going to just release that onto the universe. So there's many ways to work through a frustration, but you really, to work through your emotions in a more effective way, it's never about mastering emotions. Emotions are fluctuating things. It's not about a goal to reach. There's not like, hey, now I'm the master of it. There's no master. Law of rhythm. Emotions fluctuate. They move. They're always going to be shifting up and down. If they didn't do that, we would not be alive. Okay? Heartbeat, right? When you're locked into a monitor, right? What does the heartbeat of a person who is alive look like? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? Does it look like just a specific point? No, it goes like this, right? It's like this. That's what means you're alive. Same thing with emotions, energy and motion. It's always going to be in movement, fluctuation. You're going to feel happy sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be a little, pissed off. Sometimes you're going to be a little sad. It's appropriate to have an emotion as a response to a particular situation, a state, or a feeling. However, you can reach emotional fitness. This is by practicing how to properly process your emotions by the process that I gave you. Okay, I'm angry. This anger, there's something behind it. There's a frustration behind it. What is that frustration? Can I close that gap? And what am I going to do about it? If I can't, can I surrender that, and can I release it? Okay, so this is the process that we're going to go through for our lifetime. And emotional fitness is just like physical fitness. What is fitness? Does it mean that when you go for a 5-mile run that you're not going to sweat or you're not going to run out of breath? Of course you are. But how do we measure fitness? Recovery time. How quickly do I get back to my natural state, my high vibration natural state of joy, peace, and love? Those are our natural states. That's who we really are. That's what we came to vibrate on. And once you understand that those are different than happiness or anger or emotions that fluctuate, then you can be this person who has a center that is still at peace, even if you're feeling and going through certain emotions, because you're going to know what's going on and you're going to know how to process this. That is what emotional fitness is all about, and why I love to say emotional fitness and not emotional mastery, because there is no such thing, okay? That's what this Mercury in Cancer period, with its slightly, square situation to Chiron, which is, Chiron is a position in the natal chart in which you see where your medicine comes from. Okay, so if this Mercury is triggering something with Chiron, it's especially when it's a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, we're talking about healing some wounds. Chiron is the wounded healer, where you find that wound that then allows you to then help others heal that same thing. So you're gonna find, maybe I have some still inner child things to work through, maybe some things from, early years that I need to heal, still pending, that I need to fix. So therefore, I'm going to concentrate on those so that then I can have a clean slate for relationships, for my relationship to money, for love, for whatever it is that you want to shift into in your life, in your future, right? So this is the chance for that. Pen and paper. Retrogrades are also a great time for especially Mercury retrograde, okay? Because this Mercury is the planet of the analytical mind, for planning, preparing for the future. Do your 90-day planning. This is what I do now. I don't really plan for the year. I have some very, very light, super light, maybe numerical goals for the year. But really my planning is, what am I gonna do for the next 90 days? Times are shifting so quickly at an accelerated rate that we need to be prepared to shift and pivot with it. There's a really interesting pivot that's coming on June 20th, 21st. We're in smack in the middle of eclipse season, and like I said, this is going to be solstice, eclipse, new moon, north node conjunction, double new moon, all on Father's Day. It's going to be an interesting one. I'll be doing a video on that next week. Anyway, you know that you can always email me at Maryl@MarylCelizPaz.com if you'd like to do a session for an astro coaching session for a chart reading, so that we can take a look at the energies that you are working with and see how you can sort of grab the reins of your own life through the energies, knowing and understanding what these energies are all about, what your gifts are, what your purpose is, what some challenges may be. That's what this tool of astrology and knowing your natal chart, your birth chart, is all for and about. Okay, and I love teaching about these things, and I love really doing sessions in which I see my clients' faces go, ah, I knew it. Okay, so we can do that for you. Just send me an email. Many, many blessings, and I will see you all next